What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Point?
Yeah, what's your point?
What's Your Point is a show where we just basically kind of shoot the shit about things related to movies, center it around a topic, and then kind of go around the horn, see what's up. And today, we're going to ask a question that I've been wondering for the longest time. What makes a horror movie a horror movie?
A horror movie, the actual definition, is a movie that it makes you feel uncomfortable. Whether it be your fears, whether it be, just gruesome murder, whether it be, whatever. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable to where you actually like it. Stuff like that. It's weird.
Does that.
A lot of these movies out here, they actually go under the category of a horror movie, even though we don't necessarily see them as good as other horror movies.
You're saying that a horror movie's main goal should be to make you uncomfortable.
I think
That
it's
is
dictionary definition.
that's the
is
dictionary
to fear,
definition.
anxiety, paranoia.
That is the dictionary definition of a horror movie. There are drastic differences between movies that can be categorized as a horror movie and are good, bad, just piss awful and excellent.
So bad they're good.
When I was thinking about this, I was thinking like to invoke fear. I don't think that's necessarily it. I think there are movies that can invoke that sort of uncomfortable feeling without being horror. I think that a horror movie explores fear, and that's its main focus. You could have sort of like an action thriller where where somebody is being held hostage, and that can like invoke fear in someone for that person, but a movie has to like take a look at a fear and really delve into like what that says about human nature.
First definition that comes up when you Google search definition of a horror movie. Horror films are unsettling films designed to frighten and panic, cause dread and alarm, and to invoke our hidden worst fears, often in terrifying, shocking finale while captivating and entertaining us at the same time in a cathartic experience. Thank you.
So, is Super Size Me a horror movie? It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable and panic and go, oh my god, I'm eating so much McDonald's!
As somebody who worked there for 5 years and ate there literally every day, that movie is a load of shit.
You know they have a second one coming out, right?
Yeah, it's called Super High Me.
No, they have
that's
Super
already
Size Me
been out.
too.
Was it really?
Yeah, for real.
Cool.
What's up, Aaron? Come here, buddy! Everybody, welcome Aaron to What's Your Point? So this episode, we're talking about what makes a horror movie a horror movie.
Jesus Christ.
Instead of like a thriller, an action thing, like, break it down, man.
Jesus.
What makes a horror movie horror?
Okay, what are y'all classifying as a thriller?
That's the whole point
That's
like,
your
this issue.
answer. I think the difference in a true horror film is when it takes that fear, makes it paranoia, and then it kind of brings it into your real world life.
Instead of making it like supernatural.
Well, even then, if that's your fear and you go and you see a supernatural movie and then everything makes you jump because you think there's a ghost in your room after you watch that movie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so a
that was
horror
me after
movie-
Paranormal Activity.
So a
when I was
horror
30.
movie...
Really?
I was 13.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It came in a long fucking time.
2007.
What?
That movie's 10 years old. So what you're saying is that a horror movie brings your fears to life
Yeah.
on the screen.
Whether it's like a fear that you're aware you have or just something in the movie that scares you passively, it still brings it into your life.
I think the best horror movies, a movie could do is actually make something that is very realistic and then make it happen. That could happen in the real world and show that. Like with serial killers, not like Freddy
like anybody could
or
be it,
Jason, but like anybody could be it.
Right now, I've got a list of movies, and we argue here whether they're horror movies or not. So, The Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
I can agree with that.
All right.
Right.
Halloween.
Yes. The original Rob Zombie.
The original.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that'd be more of a thriller.
Yeah.
Why a thriller over a horror?
It's not really focused on like the horror element of it, like the serial killer, or I feel like that's more on character in that film. So it's more, you know what I mean?
I
I have no idea.
I really don't. Sorry.
I kind of see what you're trying to get, but a thriller actually has like proper motivations that are aware to the
Like
audience.
underlying elements to that.
In Halloween, he just wants to murder his fucking sister. That's it.
But isn't that a motivation?
Yeah, but he's also a
Maybe it's been too long since I've seen Halloween.
he is a monster figure.
Sure.
That's what I would go for.
He's more of a monster than
Yeah.
a person.
The way that Dr. Loomis talks about Michael Myers, he's like, he's got the blackest eyes,
So he
the
still has a
soulless
nice
eyes.
backstory.
Yeah.
He has a
I guess
backstory,
it
but
depends
I
on
mean,
which movie.
is Nightmare on Elm Street a horror movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Freddy's got a pretty similar backstory too. I don't think backstory makes a horror. What the fuck did you just say in my car?
I never saw Nightmare on Elm Street.
What the fuck is wrong
This
with you?
just means there's room for improvement.
Let's see here. Dracula.
Never saw it.
Really?
Wait,
I mean, I
which-
know
which
what it
Dracula?
is.
The-
Bela Lugosi.
Is that the first one?
The one
Yeah,
that came out?
1931.
No, I've not
Never
seen it.
Never seen it. I
Fire
could see
is-
Horror
back
movies
in
are a
the
lot
day,
simpler.
it'd be a super horror movie, but nowadays it's more like a thriller.
Do you think there are things that you could classify as horror in the past that would change
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and what's that
Oh,
change?
yeah.
People feared different things in different eras, like
It's
vampires and
completely
witches
different
back
time.
then. Those were like real shit that people were afraid of.
Let's view the movies as if they would come out when they came out, not as today. Like
Yeah.
like if the original Halloween came out today, you know, not the Rob Zombie, but the like original, it would be. I don't know if it would be considered a horror movie.
I don't think a horror movie has to scare you to be considered horror. Like that just makes
has
it
to
a
make
good horror
It has to
movie or
make you
not.
feel uncomfortable and panic.
Get under your skin.
Halloween that made people panic because you know they never back in what was it 17 or not 17 1970 something that movie came out. You know how many horror movies like that were out before then? Not too many.
You're saying that Halloween, because it's adapted to modern times, if you brought it to modern times, it wouldn't be a horror movie because it wouldn't scare people. By that logic, there's this movie out there called The Great Train Robbery. Actually, I don't even think it's a Great Train Robbery. It's just a documentary showing a train pulling into the station. And in 1917, people were freaking out because they thought the train was going to come through the theater. So by that effect, their sensibilities back then, that would have been a horror movie, even though it's literally just documentary footage of a train pulling in. So I don't think that's it. Let me keep going down the list here. Alien.
Yeah.
More of
I would
a.
say thriller for that one.
Okay, Alien scared the shit out of me.
I never
That
saw.
one's a horror movie.
I didn't see the original. I really loved Aliens when I was a kid. Are we talking about Alien or Aliens?
Alien.
When I was like 10 years old, I recorded Alien with my dad's DVR, and I just wanted to see the alien, so I pretty much scrolled through the entire
Wow.
movie trying to find the. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Jaws.
It does have a monster.
And it did make people afraid to go into the ocean
Mhm.
afterwards. That explores the fear of the
It's
ocean.
also more action based, so I want to lean on thriller. Because like the Jaws would, it's like
But the shark
a
doesn't show
serial
up.
Killer.
Yeah, but the shark doesn't show up for a long time of it. So it's not really centered around the shark, but more the feeling that the shark
That
gives
would
you.
be psychological thriller.
Psycho. Is Psycho a horror movie?
It was one of the first.
Why is it a horror movie?
But oh fuck, never mind. You're right.
Well, no, I'm trying to figure that out. I think Psycho is a horror movie because it explores the fear of being trapped in your mind, or being trapped, not only in your mind, your social state, just that fear of like being locked in there.
Jaws is considered a mystery drama film.
A mystery.
Mm-hmm. Mystery
So,
drama.
like, next to the Agatha Christie movies, you've got Jaws.
Wow.
Right. The Shining.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Wait. Ugh, don't do this to me.
But think about it. Why is
I'm having an identity crisis, Daniel.
Kubrick or the
Well,
one?
Yeah, I think it would be.
Kubrick.
Okay.
That movie made me sweat.
so
It actually scared me.
Evil Dead 2?
Never saw it.
Yes. I want to say it is a horror film
But
simply
But it's
because
goofy.
but it's a comedy.
Yeah.
it is a comedy. Yeah.
So-
There can be horror comedies.
That's
Have you
true.
seen those?
Or dark comedies.
Scream was a parody.
Scream is a parody of horror movies, but it still kind of follows that fear of
Yeah.
someone stalking you. I think Evil Dead 2 is a horror movie too. Maybe it's not specifically stuck in the horror tropes, like the fear of like something coming to possess you, or a
Still,
supernatural
again, like you
force coming to
said
attack
earlier,
you.
being hunted.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 1 is considered a fantasy horror. Evil Dead 2 is considered a cult splatter.
What?
A cult splatter?
Cult film splatter
Did
film.
they make up a genre for this specific movie?
It's a
What the
subgenre.
fuck? Is that like Jim Jones jumping off a building? Shaun of the Dead.
That is a rom-com.
That's not a horror movie.
That's a rom-com with zombies.
But
The zombies are all no.
the plot is a zombie movie.
It is. It's a
Zombies come by.
Yeah, but
They
they're
have
not
to run-
scary.
They're scared of it. The characters are scared of zombies. Why do you think that's not a horror movie? Because
Unless
like,
we're counting parodies of horror
but
movies.
it's like I wouldn't call it a parody. It's a
Shaun
horror
of the
comedy.
Dead.
It's Edgar Wright parodying the classic zombie film, but also entering a rom-com into the mix. That's what it is. It's designed to put you in the mix with Sean and Liz, who are this couple that are obviously break up right before the start of the apocalypse, or the zombie apocalypse, and you know they try to work things out while fucking fighting zombies.
One, I argue the main focus of that movie is Sean and Ed, not
Right.
Sean and Liz. I couldn't give a fuck about Liz.
It's a
but
rom-com.
that's a side point.
Alright.
That point of making you feel uncomfortable, that part where Sean has to kill his mom, that's tough shit. The part where
I
Sean
get
and
it,
Ed
yeah.
have that last stand, that's uncomfortable too.
Yeah, but not in the way that
And-
a horror movie makes you uncomfortable. That's like you can find the same thing in a
Okay.
love story where some kid
Alright,
dies of
so-
cancer.
In the definition of a horror film, it's toward the climax that tries to make you feel the most uncomfortable and unsettling. It's supposed to do that. And whenever Sean had to kill his mom, and then Sean had to, by the way, spoilers for Shaun of the Dead, and Ed was dying, you know, it made you feel, I don't know, I would say uncomfortable, I would say saddened.
I'm gonna completely deconstruct what I just said.
Cool.
I don't think Shaun of the Dead is a horror movie. But
Liar.
as we're attacking all of this, I really do think it has to be, even if something has zombies in it, even if something has monsters in it, even if something has a lot of death,
Colossal. That was a monster movie in sorts, and that wasn't considered a horror movie.
the main focus of the movie has to be exploring someone's fear. So
Yeah.
Jaws, fear of sharks, fear of the unknown in the water. Alien, fear of claustrophobia, being isolated and being hunted.
I didn't look up that one, by the way.
All the slasher movies, again, being hunted. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you could argue, is a movie that's the fear of losing your humanity, of just being seen as meat.
Alien is considered a fantasy thriller.
According to what, Google?
Yes.
And everything on the internet's true, Barnyard.
I'm just saying.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
Something like Seven, I wouldn't consider that. Because the whole point of the movie is finding this mystery, stopping this guy. Something like Shaun of the Dead, I wouldn't consider a horror movie because it's a movie about using zombies as a metaphor to describe the sort of like hopelessness and aimlessness of being in your 20s. If you explore that fear and that's the focus of your movie, you could have it span across different genres. Evil Dead 2, I'd argue, is a horror movie just because it borrows so much from the other elements of horror. I think it's a horror movie by proxy. Meaning, like, if it looks like a horror movie and it smells like a horror movie, it might as well be a horror movie, even though if the intent really isn't to be a horror movie. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
There's that one Supreme Justice who described obscenity is, I don't know how to describe it, but I know it when I see it. And I think when we try to define film genres,
It's not black
that
and
kind of
white.
just falls into the mix there too. So y'all, go ahead and let us know what you think a horror movie consists of down in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel too. We got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you want to follow us on social media, all that good stuff. We're gonna go now see Mother for after credits.
Which might be one of the better. Is this considered a horror film?
I've heard psychological thriller, but I've also heard comparisons to Rosemary's Baby, which I consider a horror
That's
movie.
a long ass horror movie, but a horror movie.
It's a great horror movie.
Mystery drama.
Really?
Yeah.
Mystery drama?
If Jennifer
Jesus.
Lawrence is in it. It's gotta be a drama.
Right.
Jennifer?
What do you have?
what the fuck do you have against Jennifer Lawrence?
I'm not a big fan.
Jennifer Lawrence, if you're watching this video, please don't hate us. The comments of Barnyard do not reflect the opinions, mindsets of anybody else in
Other games
HalfKocked
could've been
Productions.
better, but
Oh yeah, it
You
could have
could have
been.
been in a lot more better shit.
If you're watching, send me $2,000. I'd be happy. You just make it all go away.
$2,000 from my life.
That's all you
I'm
need to make it go away.
Hey, I'm surprised that you got 1,000.
Shit, my
See y'all
student
later.
loans are coming up in November.